Morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, good morning, good morning. So welcome, how's everyone today? Love, 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 everything is great. So YouTube is also being a little silly too. Whenever we go ahead and upload our replay, it's for whatever reason, it takes like all day. Now, because yesterday was 4th of July and we hit an all-time high, I was feeling a little bit like, let's get some cool music, like a little bit rockish kind of. So there's a track we had used before that I put behind it. And it was still loud. Now, mind you, we always use the background music that's really nice. It's like hokey, it's kind of country-ish, and it's at a volume of 10, and I'm at a volume of 100. And we found that to be a really, really good background volume. So I put the track yesterday at 10, and it seemed like so loud. I was like, this is insane. So I lowered it to 6, which kind of still seems loud, but I was like, all right, we use 10 all the time. I'm lowering this about 40% down to 6. It can't be that loud. So this morning around 3 a.m. when I woke up, I looked at the comments on YouTube. Ant, this is really loud, this is really loud, this is really loud. I was laying in bed, I was like, I gotta watch it. I watched maybe a minute of it before I wanted to take my phone and throw it across the room. I was like, this is so loud, this is obnoxious. So I'm going to actually just re-edit that today. I'm going to take that background off, I'm gonna put the one we always have on, and I'll re-upload it. And of course this one, I will not make the same mistake. So for those that have shared that with me, I'm agreeing with you, and thank you. Because if you didn't share it, I would not have watched it, and if I didn't watch it, I would not. Now that we're at this all-time high, we're not going to be so silly to think, all right, it's just gonna go up forever. No, now we gotta fortify it, right? Like we got to a new level, now let's put the money in the liquidity pool, so if anyone says, all right, well, this looks like a good opportunity to sell, which again, is everyone trades. I'm not going to go off on a tangent for 10 minutes talking about people's ability and right to sell, but I am cognizant enough, and I do steward Rhino to the best of my ability, and my whole background is in markets, to know that if somebody was in Rhino and they were looking to get out of Rhino, for whatever reason, I have no idea the reasons people get out. There's 1 billion reasons to sell something. There's only one reason to buy it, right? You only buy something because you think it's gonna go up. But there could be 1,000 reasons to sell. So let's say, and what's typical in the stock market for people that they call technical analysis, like chartists, they take a look at a chart like ours, and they say, okay, the former all-time high was 253. Okay, that means there's a ton of people that are sitting at 253 that watched it come down to 2 and steadily increase back up. It is in the chartist point of view, through the experience of looking at charts over the entire history of time, that the individual that was at 253 and watched it go to 2 the next day is immediately thinking to themselves, oh my God, I wish I sold. I wish I sold. You know what? If it ever gets back, or even close to this, I'm out, because I don't like what just happened, but I don't want to lose all that money. I'm going to sell when it gets back there. Which is why when something makes a new all-time high, it's so celebrated, because you effectively got past the price where everyone that had a prior recent memory would have said, if it ever gets back here, I want to break even, I'll get out. Which means most people sell at that price, which is why when something goes to an all-time high, people get excited, because now the sky's the limit. There's no price above an all-time high that has any memory at all. In fact, it allows a stock or an asset or anything to freely just explore the blue skies, because there's nobody that ever owns it at any price that it's going to reach that would previously have said, well, last time I was at 7, it went to 2, and if it ever gets back to 7 again, I'm going to take my money out. So for instance, it's not exactly an A to A analogy, because 99% of the asset is still held privately. It's still being sold into the market. Meaning, if somebody looks and says, well, I have 2,000 Rhino at 250, I could just press a button and make $5,000 right now. I've been owning it since $1. I got in at the beginning. I could net, I don't know, $2,000-$3,000 in the matter of a couple of months, which is 150-200% gain. Would I fault that person for doing that? No, absolutely not. God bless. You did a good job. Thank you for believing this, right? But do I have to be prepared for that to happen? Absolutely. So although I can enjoy looking cool and just keep letting it run up, which I would like it to float a little bit. Like I want it to go a little higher. And again, what you see on the surface is what's going to be attributed to me. So when we were at 250 and we fortified down at 2, the market value was 65,000. It's now 123,000. Meaning if we never put anything into the liquidity pool, we would have effectively already doubled from that price and then some. Effectively, if we never put anything in the liquidity pool, Rhino would be $5 right now. But if Rhino was $5 right now, how many people would have sold along the way? Because that move from 2 to 5 would have been over a course of 6 months. That's really quick. Anything that moves that quickly, people say, whoa, I'll take my profit here. Would Rhino have been able to support a large amount of selling at that high of a price with a market cap of only 65,000? No. So 2 things are true. 1, Anthony and Rhino would look like the coolest guys in the world. I made 100% with Rhino in a matter of a month or two. And secondly, Anthony and Rhino would be everyone's biggest disappointment because they would see it go from 5 to 1 or 2 very quick. I have no intention of celebrating something that I don't think can last. We're going to be together in fact, we're going to be together to the point that I get on this and I go, wow, can you see I have gray hair already? Then we're going to be to the point where I'm going to say, wow, remember when I used to have hair? Like, we're going to be together for a long time. And the only way that's possible is if we continue fortifying as we go. So yesterday we purchased, I think like $200 worth, but we put it right into the liquidity pool. Today, I think we'll probably do $200-300 worth. I gotta see where we're at. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 purchases of Rhino just to get to 255, 256. Because I do want to see it continue up, but I won't put the rest in the liquidity pool. Because it is in my spidey senses that somebody somewhere has to have life happen somehow where they're gonna say, you know what, I have 1,000 of this, let me just hit it. And I don't wanna be surprised, right? And nor should you. So that's the commentary on Rhino Bucks today. The last time I checked emails was yesterday, I think at like 7 o'clock. So I'm updated up until 7. So if anyone emailed me thereafter, I will likely get to it by 12 o'clock, I would say. Because we also have Rhino Wealth today at 11, which Rhino Wealth today, I'll probably do a little commentary, but I am gonna start doing some research in real time with everyone because I have not been able to get to it yesterday, and there's 15 to 20 hours I've committed that I would get to by Monday, and I think I've done maybe 5 minutes. Like, I'm woefully behind the schedule I made for myself, which is funny because the Rhino I was speaking to in France yesterday, she goes, Anthony, by the way, how do you have time for any of this? She goes, I don't have time to keep up with what you're doing. And not only are you doing what you're doing, but you're doing it quite successfully. She goes, so, and she was asking questions, how's this, how's that? And I love it. It's one of our Rhinos that we speak once every 3, 4, 5 months, but they have a list of questions. And it's great, right? Like, I totally love it. So I did a screen share with our Karcher account. And of course, I wasn't expecting to do that. And I wasn't expecting to do that, but showing it in real time is as transparent as it gets, right? Like, I'm showing you our merchant account, and it was so cool because everything is just continuing up. And then we showed Rhino Bucks to be at all-time highs, and she's like, you're doing really well. I go, well, you're actually an equity holder too. You know, there's tiers in Rhino. She was an equity holder too. So I was like, congratulations to you. I'm just the steward. It's not like I have magical powers. I simply am like kind of aggregating what everyone feels and saying, put it on me and follow me. Let's do it, right? And I'm totally nuts. So I'm certifiably insane probably for doing it, but that's okay. I don't mind. I'm insane. I've been called worse. And it gets to the affiliate side of it. And we just have bots making new bots, putting new people in, and bots and making bots and making bots and making bots, and bots procreating and making new bots all over the place. It almost begs the question, well, does it even matter what Rhino is it, right? Like, we have the benefit that Rhino is completely ethical and value oriented. Like, this is the time in history for it. But if you took that away and Rhino was just a bag of like orange, well, the sales force that you would have with bots selling to other bots, rewarding the person for the bot selling to it and allowing other people to get their own bots by submitting to a bot and then making another, you could very easily say, well, Ant, it kind of sounds like a virus. You're doing COVID marketing, right? Like, you're just putting different patient zeros all over the place and watching it spread. Now, unfortunately, that's a really poor analogy because I don't know how close that has hit many families. So let me take that back. But in terms of just virality, I'm talking about virus virality where it just spreads and you can't stop it. I think that's kind of what we're going to be doing. And of course, with a better outcome, right? So, and God bless anyone that's has a bad story about COVID. But it is my top intention to get that by the end of next. Because then we can finally, I don't ever want to say take a step back or take a break or take a breath, because I don't even know what that's like. I just found out yesterday was like 4th of July. I guess my grandmother was like, so you finally have a day off? I was like, what is a day off? 4th of July. It's a day of a month. Like, I'm here. I don't even know if there was fireworks yesterday. I suspect there was somewhere. But I would like the opportunity to actually take a breath and see it happen. Imagine having a command center every day that we get together and we're like, okay, guys, remember yesterday where we had, 100 bots? Today we have 700 bots. And then the next day we have like 45,000 bots. At some point, the conversion level is going to be very clear. Okay, X amount of bots times X percentage equals X amount of new members per day equals X amount of new bots per day. The X amount of new bots plus the X amount of bots that exist times the growth rate times the conversion rate will then equal the X amount of new bots and X amount of purchases that you expect for the next day. In which case, you could take that calculation, extrapolate it going forward and say, hey guys, it looks like August 17th is the date that we're going to run out of the billion coin. My point being, when we can make that assertion, when I can share that date with you, when I can have enough data to say this is the most likely event, what's the behavior on your side? And this is the cool part. What becomes your behavior? Well, if you know to yourself, within a reasonable certainty, right? Let's say plus or minus that on X date, which is 7 months from now, plus or minus 2 weeks, that the coin, that Rhino's price is no longer going to be artificially held by Rhino as the distributor of it, but in fact, it's going to be completely market oriented when it's at market pricing. And we'll also know, well, at that date, we'll have this many accounts, which means, okay, we'll have 100,000 accounts, let's say. So you could then make the calculation. You'll have 100,000 automated accounts purchasing at market price every single day for the entire week, and then again the next week, the next week, the next week, the next week. So you would then say to yourself, well, okay, do I want to get out of Rhino now? Well, that would be, I don't want to say D-U-M-B, because I feel like that might be rude to someone, but I did spell it for a reason, right? Like, I think that's what that would be. But be that as it may, okay, some people might leave, but I think the percentage of people would say, I'm not selling anything. Like, in 7 months, I'm planning a vacation. Like, I know what's going to happen. So then what's the opposite of so vehemently saying you're not going to sell anything? Well, in fact, I would believe the behavior would be, I feel like I have inside information, which, by the way, inside information is information that's only held inside and no one else knows. We are public every single day, sharing this live and putting it on YouTube. By definition, there is nothing we will ever say that's non-public because we're sharing it publicly, right? So let's just say that. But you would feel like you have non-public information, inside information. You're like, well, I know in September or August that this thing is going to happen. Why wouldn't I just buy more now? Like, if it's like we're finally, you know what, put me down for 1,000 a week. I want as much as I can right now because I know what's going to happen. Well, that behavior then brings that date far sooner because everyone's buying more at the moment. Okay, what happens when it reaches that point and it starts just multiplying every day? Does it spread to other people? Do they start saying, what is this? Does Rhino then take the proceeds we're getting and then go on a crazy marketing thing where we just blast all over the place? Have you seen Rhino lately? I'm Rhino, are you? RhinoBucks.com. Do we go ahead and start getting on TV commercials? Do we start traveling the country? What do we do to go ahead and say, guys, I'm Rhino, are you? RhinoBucks.com. Of course, all of this is big idea, big vision, big Anthony, you know what? Like that's, you know, that's and $1 buys you a coffee, right? Like, what are you talking about? But be that as it may, there is something called a resume. There is something called a pattern of behavior. We've been here together sharing stuff like this ever since before Rhino Bucks was invented. We were sharing this when Rhino Bucks was 1 penny. We were sharing this when Rhino Bucks went public at $1. We're sharing it now when Rhino Bucks has a new all-time high at $2.55. At every step along that way, you could have made the argument, all right, I hear you, but you're talking about, you're gonna make a cryptocurrency. Like, what do you know about crypto? Oh, you're gonna make a subscription-based crypto? We don't even, okay. You're gonna go public 100 times higher than where you are today. You're gonna go up 250%? During an economy where everyone's like losing their head and you're going to do it in less than a year? Yeah, okay. Well, to the people that were naysayers, you know, the same thing I would say to England yesterday, haha. But I do think the pattern of behavior then comes into the calculation of, can we make it? And the fact that we're getting so close that we can actually say, well, Rhino friend to Rhino affiliate friend to building the marketing around it so that everyone can place it everywhere. Step back, let's see what we can improve on. Do we have to change the algorithm? Do we have to change the prompt? What do we need to do? Make that upgrade. And then relaunch, upgrade until we identify what catches. Well, then once you identify what catches, that's it. There is nothing else. There's nothing after that. It's automated. It just multiplies by itself. That is it. Boom, gone, done. We're there. Those calls will simply be us just sitting here saying, hey, so what'd you do? Yeah, I went to Applebee's yesterday. Did you ever have the quesadilla burger? Yeah, it's great. It's a burger and a quesadilla. Can't believe I never thought of that. I think our conversations would be more fun than that, although quesadilla burger sounds delicious. I used to date someone that would only eat the quesadilla burger, and that sounds cute. But when you see a 20-year-old, really, really pretty girl eat a quesadilla burger like she's in jail and hasn't ever eaten before, the quesadilla burger has all the cheese and sour cream and all the rest in it. So when they take a bite, because again, it's a half moon, it's a quesadilla, it's all over your face. It looks like you fell into a pile of Big Mac sauce. And I'm like, you're disgusting. This is like, good thing we're only at Applebee's, right? But the point being, these are stories we're going to share because business will be that much fun. And that's that. So totally love y'all. I think today is as good a day as any to jump up and down. And okay, that's it. Bye.